morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for our 21st race of the season for the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series Charter Series. Getting set here for another weekend where it's just the Hersheys Cup Series. Pizza Dex Series as well as the non-charter series for Hersheys Cup taking an off week. They'll all be back, though, next week at Daytona. But tonight we are under the lights at North Carolina Speedway, more favorably known as Rockingham Speedway. Here in Rockingham, North Carolina. 50 laps on tap this evening with inverted numbers on the front row, the 16 and the 61. Only difference is Nathan Hudson on the pole hasn't found victory lane yet this season. McCrury has. He won the Daytona 500. Alongside them in row 2, you got J Bryant, our Dover race winner. Z Flickinger still looking for his first win of the season, rolling off there from the 4th spot and completing the top 5. S Gallighan, who's had 2 really good runs last few weeks. Or actually last 3 weeks, I think we should say. Starting at Springfield, then on to Watkins Glen, and then last week at Thornton. About ready to get the command to fire the engines up, and we have a tie for the points lead coming into today's race between D Poteet and J Arndt. So that is going to be something to follow tonight.
Drivers, start your engines!
As there's the command to fire them up, and you will take a look here at your chase field if the season were to have ended at this point, and you will notice that after the victory that was sustained last week by one J Baskinger at Thornton, we now have 14 different race winners up inside the top 30 in the points, and that leaves only 2 slots right now that are eligible for drivers to make it in via points. Now, the thing we should point out in this situation is that 3 chartered rides are outside the top 30 in the points coming into this race, that being L Alvarise, Joseph Srigley, and Caitlin Tsang. If any of those 3 were able to work their way back up into the top 30 in the points, that's another 1, potentially all, of the slots taken. And if we have more drivers go to victory lane in the course of these upcoming 6 races, including tonight, oh man, it is going to get really close into who's going to make the chase for the Hersheys Cup Series Championship here in Season 4. But here we go. Nathan Hudson trying to pick up his first win since Season 2 of the Hersheys Cup Series gets us underway. Get Anthony McCrury along the outside line. That's going to be the preferred line today. And McCrury will go to the point, but here comes Flickinger now down to the bottom. These 2 rehashing a rivalry back from Season 2 Yas Marina Circuit when they battled tooth and nail for a victory. Now both of them in somewhat different looking rides. McCrury now sponsored by Dishonored in his Ford. He was, I believe, an Audi at the time, and Z Flickinger at the time was a Chevrolet. U.S. Army sponsored Chevrolet, now a Grant Dodge Dart sponsor. And look at J Gardner. He almost was up against the wall there through 3 and 4, but he got a heck of a run off the final turn. He's going to drive it down to the inside, looking for the race lead. J Sydnor. His teammate J Baskinger went to victory lane last week. Sydnor already a winner this season at Bristol Dirt. Would love to be able to pick up a second win. As a matter of fact, coming to this race, J Sydnor 23rd in the points. There's a couple of drivers that are actually down near the danger zone coming into this race that have a win this season. M Haas, J Bryant, and J Sydnor 21st, 22nd, 23rd in points. And then our winner a couple weeks ago at the Glen, Benjamin Miles. He's 28th in the standings. Didn't have the best of runs last week at Thornton. I thought maybe that was going to drop him back outside the top 30 in the point standings. Not the case, though. He still is in the top 30, so that win still counts towards a chase spot at the moment. He just needs to get much better finishes here in the last 6 races to try and make the chase. Of course, we documented back at Watkins Glen the troubles that he had back in Season 3. Obviously, he does not want to repeat that here in Season 4. J Sydnor trying to get the run on McCrury. The big thing is the drivers get such good runs into the corner on the inside line, but then there's that run off the corner where the outside line kicks in. Levi McIntyre right there in that 4th position. Just been so close week after week after week of finding victory lane. He is the highest running of the drivers this season that don't have a win. He is 3rd in the point stands. He's actually within striking distance of being able to take the points lead here tonight. If D Poteet and J Arndt run into some issues, he was 15 points back coming into tonight. But he still has not found victory lane. Still looking for his first win since Las Vegas of Season 2. Brandon Gonzales also hasn't won a race since Season 2. And we have our first caution of the evening. Caution is out, and I believe they took it So the yellow flag waves for the first time this evening. It will take place on lap number 7. Trying to look back, see who might have been involved. I see what looks like it could be some damage on the 2 of Dylan Young. I don't know if he was the one that started the incident or if he was at least involved. And it looks like we will have pit stops here because this could potentially be the only caution we'll see today. But I don't think this is going to be the last time we'll see these drivers on pit road. So McCrury leads them down. Is anyone going to risk it and stay out? Doesn't look like it. Damage on Emmanuel Hartnett's 83. That might have been from a stack up under caution. So McCrury, Garrett Sydnor, Brandon Gonzales come down pit road, and there's a car on the pit lane. That is James McCloud in the 51. 5th in the point standings, 2-time winner. One of the drivers that's technically at this point locked into the chase for the championship. Tim Walch in the 15, also on pit road. So apparently the 15 and the 51 would give us a general idea of what brought out this caution. And are they going to go with a full 4-tire stop? Yes, they are. 4 tires on McCrury, 4 tires for Flickinger. And we'll see if anybody can beat McCrury off pit road. Nope, not even close. Nearly 3 car lengths he beats Brandon Gonzales off pit road by. McIntyre picks up a spot to 3rd. Garrett Sydnor a little slow on his stop. He'll restart with 4th place, and your top 5 will be completed by J Gardner. But for now, we're going to look back at a replay of what brought out this first caution of the evening. We have to start this replay all the way back in turn 4, even though the incident didn't start till turn 1. Watch the right side of your screen. Dylan Young down in the bottom, Joseph Srigley in the 24, Joshua Michaels in the 10. They are 4 wide coming off the corner. There's the contact between Srigley and Dylan Young that sends them both down to the apron. Dylan Young actually down into the grass, and then they're going to carry this up into turn 1, and this is where you're going to see Tim Walch and James McCloud get involved. As Dylan Young, another shove right there to Srigley. They move up the track. Nowhere to go. Chris Dodd's going to go up and into the wall. Joshua Michaels gets a piece of it there. Wow, McCloud, the rear end of housing of his car, straight up and into the air, almost up onto his roof, with more contact from Tim Walch. And that is what brought out the caution. Incident there in turn 1. McCloud's car is going to come to rest in turn 1. Tim Walch drives it back, but a lot of smoke underneath his National Guard Chevrolet. Chris Dodd, a lot of right side damage, getting up there into the wall, and then not exactly certain how much damage was sustained by others that were involved in that, like Dylan Young, Joseph Srigley, and Joshua Michaels. We'll have to see if they'll be up to speed when we go back green. Oh, Tim Walch didn't even make it back to pit road. Car came to rest on the inside of turn number 2. That's what brought us under the yellow for the first time this evening at Rockingham. Let's go back to green. Lights out top the pace car. Green flag will come back out on lap 11 of 50, which gives us about roughly 5 laps to go in our first stage of the evening. McCrury, the leader. Brandon Gonzales, 2nd. 3rd for Levi McIntyre. Garrett Sydnor and J Gardner. That's your top 5, with Trent Dunham, Keith Batson, Dylan Poteet, Matt Haas, and Emmanuel Hartnett, your top 10. I'm actually surprised Hartnett is in the 10th position. Oh, he doesn't have a hood. I was going to say, that hood was all buckled up when I saw him under pacing. And apparently they removed the hood, and he actually didn't really lose any track position as a result, but I don't know if he's going to be up to speed or not. Green flag comes back out here on lap 11. Out of the race, 2 cars. Tim Walch, James McCloud. Everybody else continues on. 3 wide back there. That's for the 3rd position. McIntyre way up on the high side, and watch this. Watch how he gets the big run through the high side, and he's going to go around Brandon Gonzales for the 2nd position. I think if anybody's going to make a move for the win in the closing stages, they're going to have to do something on that outside line. I just don't see it being able to have enough momentum to be able to make the move in turn 4, or turns 3 and 4, on that low line. McIntyre up on the high side again, battling with Garrett Sydnor. I thought for a moment there that might actually bring him to the outside of Anthony McCrury through turns 4, but couldn't get enough of a run to the 99. So right now, Ford Fusions 1 and 2. Then it's Dodge of Gardner, the Chevy of Sydnor, and the Mitsubishi of Gonzales. Talked about there being a tie for the points lead coming into this race between Dylan Poteet and J Arndt. Well, one of those drivers running well at the moment. Dylan Poteet currently, last time by, scored in 8th. That's where he is now, battling with Sean Gallighan, Matt Haas, and others. The other driver, J Arndt, let's see if we can find him. There he is. He's back somewhere, I would say, around the 15th, 16th some odd position, trying to get around Emmanuel Hartnett, who appears to not be all the way up to speed due to the damage he sustained from what I'm pretty certain was a stack-up under pacing when that caution came out. Jake Baskinger, his teammate, not too far behind. Baskinger trying to make his way into his make that fourth straight chase for the championship here in the Hersheys Cup Series after his win last week at Thornton. And there's the winner a couple of weeks ago at Watkins Glen, Benjamin Miles, starting to methodically work his way up through the field, getting around Jessica Shelton, our winner from Darlington this year. Back up towards the front. We don't have a battle for the lead, but J Gardner has been very, very aggressive on the bottom line, trying to make it work. And look at Levi McIntire getting a bit of a run there on Anthony McCrury. This could be a potential battle for the lead, but here comes Gardner with a big run on the inside line down the front straightaway. Oh, McIntire, he might get alongside McCrury. Big run on the high side for the Scots Ford Fusion out of Young Motorsports. And he may take the lead out of 4 if he can get the run on the high side. He will. Mashes the throttle. He'll clear McCrury. Garrett Sydnor follows him in line into second. I said it, and it was true. You have to use the high line to pass for the lead here. McIntire must have heard me. He will take the top position as they're 3 wide behind him for second place. Well, they were. Here comes Garrett Sydnor crossing right in front of McCrury's nose to the inside of McIntire. And like I stated, that pit stop they made under caution back on lap 7, not the only caution or the only pit stop they're going to have to make here tonight. And as this thing begins to progress on, it's looking more and more like we're going to have these drivers have to make green flag pit stops during the course of this race. But Garrett Sydnor gets a nice run down the back straightaway. Problem is he just can't follow it up here in turns 3 and 4. Here comes McCrury back on the outside line. Big run. He'll go from 4th up to 2nd. McIntire moved up there to kind of kill his momentum. Otherwise, McIntire might have had some company on the outside heading here into 1. Great racing up here at the front. Great racing all the way through the field. You see a gap from Dylan Young back to Caitlin Tsang. That, I think, is due in part to Emmanuel Hartnett. And now the caution flag is out again. Caution for the second time this evening here at Rockingham as Levi McIntire will lead us to the line over McCrury. I couldn't tell it was Gardner. I would have thought it was Garrett Sydnor over J Gardner at the line, but it will be Gardner in 3rd, Sydnor 4th, Gonzales 5th. And we saw some skid marks and smoke in the front straightaway vicinity. So that is where our second caution of the day was thrown. And now is the question nearing the halfway point, do we make yet another pit stop under this caution? Are we within the fuel window that they'd be able to make it the rest of the way if they come to pit road now? And it looks like McIntire and McCrury, they will come down. And they're the only 2. Look at everybody else. Rolling the dice. Gardner stays out. Matt Haas also in. So only 3 cars coming to pit road this time. 2 of them we're running in positions 1 and 2. This could be a very interesting strategy indeed to see how this plays out. Cody Llamas, our winner from Springfield, was on pit road. Looked like they were servicing that car, but he may have also been the driver that was involved in bringing out this second caution. We'll take a look now as we jump back to look at a replay of our second yellow of the evening here at Rockingham. And this is going to involve last week's winner, Jake Baskinger, who came into this race 11th in the point standings after his win last week at Thornton. You see up ahead, Emmanuel Hartnett, way up. He actually was in the wall for a moment. That kills his momentum. Baskinger tries getting to the inside, and he just couldn't quite get there. Makes a little bit of contact there with the left rear of Emmanuel Hartnett. Turns him down to Z Flickinger. That's going to send Baskinger around as well. He couldn't keep it straight. Down on the apron. I don't think anybody hits him, though. Yeah, he gets through okay. The car that we now have to focus on is, I believe, the 74 of Flickinger, who got sent down to the inside against that inside safer barrier. And watch what happens here. He's going to come back up full speed into turn 1, and there's nowhere for J Bryant in the 22 to go. Brooke Allen also right there in the 3 going to get involved. And Cody Llamas did manage to get through that, but he was up and into the wall. So right side damage was what sent him to pit road to get that car repaired, but I think he came down a closed pit road, so he'll probably have to EOL when we get ready for the restart. Tough break there for Flickinger, Brooke Allen, and J Bryant. Brooke Allen was one of those drivers that came into this race within the mathematical eligibility of making it in via points, making it into the chase, that is. And she's going to have a badly damaged car this evening. J Bryant, former winner this season. You got to wonder if he doesn't finish this race, where this puts him as far as the points are concerned. Mentioned he came into this race 22nd in the points. He's not that close, but he's within distance of that danger zone. But that's what put us under the caution for the second time tonight here at Rockingham, North Carolina. Let's go back for the green. Green flag ready to come back out at the halfway point. Lap 25 is when it will wave once again. Johnny Gardner out in front. He and everybody else, with the exception of McCrury, McIntyre, and Matt Haas, decided not to come to pit road. So he'll restart ahead of G Sydnor, Brandon Gonzales, Sean Gallighan, and Keith Batson is now your top 5, with Trent Dunham, Nathan Hudson, Zachary Fitzwater, Dylan Poteet, and Dylan Young your top 10. Cody Llamas came down a closed pit road, and that cost him to be a lap down. He will restart to the inside of the leaders and gives way to them very easily here on this restart. Those drivers that did come to pit road that I mentioned, McIntyre, McCrury, and company, restarting 23rd, 25th, and 26th for Matt Haas. So we'll have to see if they can fight their way up through the field. Obviously, I think what they would be hoping for is for this thing to run green to the end, because they've already been to pit road. Everybody else is going to have to make a pit stop before the checkered flag waves. Those two might not necessarily need to come to pit road again. So we'd have to actually really be keeping an eye on McIntyre and McCrury, see where they are in terms of track position, so that way we'd know who would technically be out in front when these leaders do come to pit road. But Johnny Gardner enjoying the view out in front right now. Gardner had a good run going at Thornton last week, was actually up inside the top 10 for a good portion of it, and I believe finished the day out in 9th place. He's currently situated in the 31st position in points, so he would obviously kill two birds with one stone, get into the top 30 in points and have a win if he could close the deal out here this evening, but still a long ways to go. Big gap back to second place. G Sydnor, Brandon Gonzales there, along with Sean Gallighan. This is going to be the battle for second, going on about almost 3/4 of a second behind the leader Johnny Gardner. Looking back there at Levi McIntyre, his car the easiest car to pick out there because of all the bright yellow and green on that Ford Fusion, and it looks like he does have the advantage over Anthony McCurry right now. So the reason that I'm focusing on those two, them coming to pit road, that could be the potential battle for the lead when these other drivers are going to have to come to pit road, whether it be under green flag conditions or possibly under our third caution of the evening. Here at Sydnor, way up on the high line. Here comes Dallas McIntosh. Boy, he made it really stick there on the bottom of Sean Gallighan. Almost was 4 wide coming out of turn 4 there for a brief moment. McIntosh, ooh, not giving Gallighan much room, sends Gallighan up into Batson. Give room, boys, come on. Yikes, that was close. We nearly had our third caution take place right up inside the top 5. But they keep it together. Smart racing, some give and take here, as there's still about 18 laps to go. And I think the caution might have just been out. I thought I saw the yellow lights on, and no, I guess not. I thought for certain I saw that the caution was out. Yes, it is. It is out. So I was right. Caution flag will wave. Third time it will happen here this evening. Another incident on the front straightaway. Apparently they had crossed the line, or at least the leader had crossed the line before that yellow flag waved, and so therefore they had to race it back. And now comes the interesting part. Is everybody else going to come to pit road? And the 3 drivers that stayed, or that came to pit road the last time, McIntyre, McCrury, and Haas, will they stay out? This could have been a very timely caution for them to gain back track position. But Gardner doesn't even come to pit road, and pits were open. Gardner stayed out. Is anybody going to come to pit road? Doesn't look like it. Wow. Now this I don't understand, because this is less than 20 to go, and it's an opportunity to come down pit lane under yellow. And these drivers are going to have to pit again before this race is over, unless they can save enough fuel here to make it to the end, but I don't see that happening. I highly question this, but then again, I'm not a crew chief down there on the pit box. I don't know what strategy these people are working out. So, with Gardner leading here under our third caution of the evening, let's take a look at a replay of what brought out this caution flag. This one going to involve our Phoenix race winner, K Mathews. Just kind of ran up the track, maybe didn't realize Baskinger was to his outside. More contact there from Chris Dodd, and he's going to go for a spin down the front straightaway. Didn't really get a whole lot of damage to the Kings Island Chevrolet, but obviously was looking for a good run, being one of 3 drivers who fell off the turn of death last week at Thornton. So K Mathews, solo car spin technically, brings out our third caution of the evening here at Rockingham. Let's go back now for the restart once again. Getting ready to go back green. It'll be 15 laps to go, which means that Cody Llamas will still line up on the inside for this restart. 4 drivers out of the race. We already documented Tim Walsh, James McCloud, Brooke Allen, and J Bryant also out of the race after they were involved in our second caution of the evening. Going back green from our third yellow flag, J Gardner still out in front. J Sydnor, now L McIntire up to third. Brandon Gonzales and K Batson's Lincoln will be your top 5 as the green flag waves once again. Mentioned that K Mathews was one of the 3 drivers who fell off the turn of death last week at Thornton. Well, one of the other drivers is up currently in that 3rd position, L McIntosh in the 14. Trying to pick up his first win of the season. He was a 2-time winner last year, but both of his wins came during the chase for the championship, which is why he did not take part in the chase. Battling here hard with J Sydnor for the 2nd position. And again, J Gardner able to get himself a good restart, and he has checked out on this battle for 2nd. But again, like I said, I'll be surprised. I don't think that pitting back on lap 7 gave them enough fuel to be able to make it the entire rest of the way. That's another 41 some odd laps they would have to save in order to make it the rest of the way, and I don't see that happening. McCrury and McIntyre, M Haas, they decided to go the safe route, make sure they had enough fuel. These guys didn't even come to pit road under that latest yellow flag. Talked about Benjamin Miles trying to work his way up in the standings. Well, he is side by side with Trent Dunham. That is the battle for the 6th position right now. And he will use the outside momentum to take it. Now thinking about a spot in the top 5. Catching up here to Nathan Hudson and Brandon Gonzales. Benjamin Miles dropped a spot in the standings to 28th last week after Thornton. But now, looks like he's going to gain some good positions in the standings if he can continue to run where he's at. This time by, J Gardner will hit 10 laps to go. They still battle for 2nd. And Gardner's Dodge Dart out in front. J Gardner has never won a Hersheys Cup Series race in his career. He's had some good runs in that 26 car. He had some good runs back in, it was season 2 when he drove the 10. And I think the caution may be out again. Yes, it is. I saw the red flag indicating pits were closed. Caution is out, and this could set us up for a very interesting finish. Looks like an incident this time out of the exit of 2 onto the back straightaway. Puts us under the yellow for the 4th time here this evening at Rockingham. Now is the question. Do you come to pit road, or do you risk running out of fuel? Twice, Gardner has skipped coming to pit road, and it looks like he's going to do it for a 3rd time. He is not indicating he's coming to the pit lane. So you gotta wonder how much fuel these guys are being able to save here under these yellow flags. Apparently they feel they can make it. We'll have to see how many laps we're going to have left when we go back green. J Gardner looking to pick up his first career Hersheys Cup Series win. There's smoke on the front straightaway as well, so we may have had 2 incidents take place. Let's take a look and see what they were. Well, here's what brought out the initial caution. Just some shoving going on back there. Levi McIntyre into L Alvarise, sends him up into J Baskinger and Blaine Keys in the 42. And Alvarez almost comes down and gets Emmanuel Hartnett. Anthony McCrury, I don't know if he got a piece of Baskinger or not. That was really close for the 61. He was up front when he came to pit road. Now finds himself back in traffic and in danger zone with that. Now that is what brought the caution out. We're going to jump up here. I think it was the 2 of Dylan Young. It may have been somebody else. We're just going to see here in just a minute. But I think it was the 2 of Dylan Young that had the incident on the front straightaway here coming to the caution. Maybe it was further up. Oh, I guess it was further. Oh, nope, there it is right there. Either Poteet came down or Shelton came up. Both got hooked up into the wall, and then Dylan Young's going to get clipped right there. Right in front of Levi McIntyre, who's going to get a piece of it. So does M Haas, so that pit strategy did not work out for them. And then watch top of your screen. Poteet gets nailed by L Alvarise. McCrury is involved in this one, and Blaine Keys gets involved as well. K Mathews going to get a piece of the back bumper of the U.S. Army Chevrolet. And Joshua Michaels gets it with the left front, gets into Mathews. So, those 3 cars that we were looking at as far as the strategic cars coming to pit road under that second caution, all 3 of them involved in this. Oh, and then Baskinger finishing blow to Dylan Young. Never slowed down. Wow. Some hard licks taken here under this caution. And I think we're going to have some more drivers back behind the wall, not able to finish it out, as we're going to have a shootout finish out this race here tonight at Rockingham. So here we go, official word, 5 laps to go when we get back green flag racing. J Gardner has been really good on the last 2 restarts. Can he get himself another one? No lap traffic to deal with underneath. It'll be single file with J Sydnor, Dallas McIntosh, Brandon Gonzales, and the pole sitter Nathan Hudson. Up in the top 5 with Miles, Fitzwater, Gallighan, Dunham, and Batson your top 10. After that incident, drivers out of the race. Shelton will retire in 26th. Also out Blaine Keys, Dylan Poteet, Dylan Young, J Baskinger, L Alvarise joining J Bryant, Brooke Allen, J McCloud, and T Walch in the garage area. Green flag back out. 5 laps to go. Gardner did not get away this time. Well, now he's starting to. Got a better run through turn 2 than J Sydnor did, and now Sydnor's going to have to fight with Dallas McIntosh for second place, and that's going to allow Gardner to check out even more. 4 laps to go for J Gardner. He's hoping these laps tick away quickly. McIntosh still side by side with J Sydnor. McIntosh's car handles really well down there on the bottom. He's able to at least stay even with J Sydnor, who's not been able to really ring his Chevrolet up on that high side. Now he might get a good run down this straightaway. Nope, still side by side with McIntosh. He just doesn't seem to be able to get that run on the high side like a lot of other drivers were capable of doing. See if he can do it this time. Also keep in mind too, I mean, these drivers haven't been to pit lane since lap 7, so maybe the tire wear and not being able to get grip comes into play as well. Sydnor trying to get the run the high line, but McIntosh still stubbornly down that inside line, and the guy that's loves seeing that is J Gardner. 2 more laps to go for the 26. And this will make it even more interesting heading into the next upcoming races with the chase for the championship grid nearly coming to a close. Gardner came into this race 31st in the point standings. This win would be almost like what happened with Benjamin Miles a couple weeks ago at the Glen. It'll get him a 1 in the win column, and it will get him into the top 30 in the points. The white flag is displayed over a second in hand. J Gardner just needs to hit his marks, and he'll be en route to his first career Hersheys Cup Series victory. Down through turns 3 and 4. And he will set sail for home. Checkered flag over the hood of the discount tire Dodge Dart. J Gardner wins here tonight at Rockingham. First win of the season, first win of his career. And it will be the 3rd time in the last 5 races that a Dodge Dart will go to victory lane. Benjamin Miles did it 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen. Cody Llamas did it 3 weeks ago at the Springfield Mile. So all of a sudden we're getting this insurgence of Dodges going to victory lane. And the big question everybody's got to be asking now is, did Johnny Gardner just lock himself up a spot in this season's Hershey's Cup Series chase for the championship? Only time will tell. Standings should be official, so we will take a look at them now. Sydnor was able to hang on to second place. McIntosh will finish third. Brandon Gonzales fourth, and Benjamin Miles. The road to recovery for that 25 team, it's beginning, or at least continuing. Top 5 tonight with a 5th place finish. Trent Dunham, nice to see him get a good run. He was en route to a good run last week at Thornton, got involved in a late incident. Gets himself a top 10 this evening, though, in 6th. Nathan Hudson brings it home in 7th. Good run for the pole sitter. Sean Gallighan, another consistent top 10 run in 8th. 9th place for Zachary Fitzwater. And Keith Batson will bring it home in 10th, just over his teammate, K Tellier. Here's the rest of your finishing results. Next week, it's Hershey's Cup Series non-charter action, Pizza Hut X Series action, and Hershey's Cup Series charter action as we go back to the place that started all, Daytona International Speedway. Hope you'll tune in for that. Up next, it's your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week's race at Daytona, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, All Flying Racing at its best. Good night from Rockingham.